Bum, 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 bum. Yes, we are going to be talking all about the huge success of the box office this week. And
Yes.
man, oh man, July definitely put a cherry on top of this beautiful Sunday that it has been for this summer. But oh my goodness. But you know, it also ties in with box office and numbers and studios. Title opening cards. There's so many iconic ones, right? You have 20th century's iconic bum, 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 with like the flashing lights heading at the 20th Century Fox.
Yeah.
And then you have like Columbia, the Statue of Liberty, right? You have TriStar, the Pegasus.
Yeah.
You have Warner Brothers, who used to be like the opening golden of the studio lot, and then pulls out into the Warner Brothers. And then, of course, you have Universal, the planet going around. There's so many iconic ones, and I thought it'd be an interesting conversation because these are the title cards that not a lot of people think about, but I personally love because I feel like they truly represent what the historical meaning of Hollywood is.
And they've morphed. I mean, they've all
They have.
changed a bit. Obviously, 20th Century Fox is now just 20th century. There is no
Hmm.
and so that's kind of changed a little bit. The Universal Globe has it stays the Universal Globe, but it has changed in how it looks. Same thing with TriStar with the Pegasus and
And
they've
then, of
all
course,
kind of.
iconic Disney's that used to be the cartoon animated one, and now it's this big, huge, massive CGI castle
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
which is
still the
pretty cool.
castle, but
Yeah.
but again, yeah, updated. But the interesting thing that gives you the real inside skinny on, and Disney's the only one that has not seen this happen, so this should tell you everything. On those openings, the one main thing that changes all the time, a Warner Brothers company, a Comcast company, a Universal such and such. That changes more often than we would like to see. Like ownership of the studio, right? It's a
For
Warner
sure.
Discovery, blah, blah. You ain't never seen that on Disney.
Nope.
Disney has always been Disney, and I think Disney will always be Disney. But it is a
Hmm.
little bit funny to watch over the years. You go back and you watch some of your old favorites on a streamer, and it's like a different owned, it's funny to see how many times ownership has changed hands of these storied studios, which is just insane. And thankfully, they're all still here, but
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, all of that has to deal with the box office, whether or not these movies are going to be hits or if they're going to be flops. But I
yes.
mean, personally, my favorite, I would probably have to go with Columbia. I love the Statue of Liberty one. And she looks beautiful. They just had the 100 years of the company. And I think what they did for their 100th year anniversary, where it was transitioning through all of their opening title cards with the Statue of Liberty, I thought was beautiful. What about you? Are you a true Disney guy of that one, or do you like other studios very particularly well?
I think honestly, I've always kind of liked the Paramount logo.
Yeah,
That one has stayed the same as well, just been updated through the years. But I like the idea of the mountaintop,
yeah,
meaning
that
you're
one
the
is nice. Yeah,
you're the king of the hill. You're at the peak. You're the top. You're the one everybody's trying to get to. I like that. I like what that symbol stands for. Sadly, it hasn't always been true. It's more or less been Disney most of the time for as long as we can remember, at least in recent history, that's been at the top of the mountaintop, not Paramount. But I like the message of the logo and what the logo was meant to stand for. So yeah, that's always been kind of one of my favorites. Um, yeah, I thought Disney's cool just because it's Walt's signature with the
yeah,
castle, and that's cool. I mean, I don't dislike that one. And of course, Warner Brothers, yeah, they've had different but the same. How it's always
yeah,
been the shield, right?
yeah,
But how do we get to the shield? It's like
yeah,
the
exactly.
sound stages, or it's the water tower.
Hmm.
It's always been something different that transitions to the shield. And
I
of
do
course,
like how Warner Brothers changes with the movie too.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
depending on what the tone of the movie is, like that shield is gonna look different from what the tone is.
Yeah, and the shield has changed over the years anyway, so it kind of represents what the change of the shield itself looks like over the years. So Yeah, they're definitely fun to watch. I mean, it's just, and who doesn't know the music? Almost everybody. If you're a true cinephile, you know the music to those openings.
Exactly.
It's not just the visual. You know the dun, 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 and you know
Exactly.
Paramounts and you know Universals and it's not just the
Yeah,
image.
the
It's the
MGM
song.
Lion.
The
Oh my
MGM
gosh.
Lion. That's got to be one of the most iconic, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, without doubt.
So good. But yes, as you can see, we're nerds, man. We're nerds, but we're super excited to talk about the box office. So let's get into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Did y'all see that? What?
Let's just throw Scream 6 in there for like
It
my
was
favorite
good.
movie. It was really good. The best of the franchise, in my opinion, since the first one.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Oh my goodness, we are back for episode 303 of ITCAFpodcast. And of course, you know your host with most, myself, J. Logan Austin, aka J-Lo Fantastic, and of course, Dustin M. Bergman, aka The Mouse.
What's up?
Man, oh man, before diving into all of the latest and greatest box office numbers that has been for 2025, we gotta say, be sure to leave a rating on this show, comment below, and let us know what you actually think about the show. Because if you didn't know, leaving a rating on the podcast actually helps more people find the show, especially those who are trying to break into the entertainment industry. But also those who love entertainment news. We love to have a good time and have a little fun. We want to be your one-stop shop of the entertainment industry news, that's for sure. And of course, be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can find a little bit of something for a little bit of everyone. We got projects that we're working on for our films and television, so please be sure to check that out as well, because we are filmmakers who have a podcast. So please be sure to check out our website, www.crazyantmedia.com. Well, heading into the 2025 box office season, man, oh man, everybody was curious. There was this mantra going around the town, as we call it, in Hollywood, that was survive till 25. Survive till 25. The 25 season will definitely save us at the box office. And man, oh man, we did see some amazing numbers from July, the month that we just got out of. And
We did.
boy, oh boy, it was kind of crazy, I will say. It was probably the peak of the year, that's for sure, in my opinion. What do you think?
Oh yeah, because you had another event, and we'll dive deeper into this later on because I have some real thoughts on this. But it was another event. We had another Barbenheimer, right, with between Superman and Fantastic Four, super fantastic. That really, and I think that was the anticipation that was driving even some of the success of the movies that came out before both of those. It was that anticipation, that buildup of wanting to be at the movies again. Same way it kind of did with Barbenheimer. People were going to other movies as well because they were excited about going to movies again. So yeah, July, I mean, no doubt. And this summer looks to be on pace to be only the second one in the last few years to hit 4 billion or higher. Just summer, guys, just summer. Not overall. Since COVID, which would be, fingers crossed, really, really, I'm just going to go out on a level and say yes, because according to our box office drafts, we've each got a couple billion.
Doing pretty well, man.
I'm assuming if you add up all of our movies together, we're getting real close to that 4 billion. So, so I think they're going to get that, and that's exciting, man. It's really exciting to see, right?
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, this past like 5 years has been rough on the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
You had the pandemic, and then right after that, you had two major union strikes with SAG-AFTRA and the WGA. Like, it was very intense. We felt the pressures. You saw the streaming boom, and then now you're seeing these streaming services pull back. Like, it's been a very crazy year. And then like you have incentives going away, incentives that you think are going to benefit films in certain locations, but then end up not. You have filmmakers who are just completely turning their heads away from the entertainment industry to pursue normal day jobs rather than continue to try to pursue the passion. It has been a very crazy time because you and myself, like, we had some friends that have been on this specific podcast that are no longer in the entertainment industry anymore because of the last 5 years of the economics of everything, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I think the general misconception, and we've talked about this a lot on the show before, but we can never talk about it enough. I think the general misconception by the public is that everybody's an RDJ. Everybody's a Tom Cruise or a Julia Roberts or a Scarlett Johansson. No. 99.8% of the industry work job to job, day to day. And if something happens to shut that down, they are at real financial risk. They're living project. We say paycheck to paycheck, right? That's what the normal man says. But they live project to project, even when everything's rocking and rolling. And this isn't an industry where you're guaranteed when one project's done, you're right on to another one. Sometimes you have to go stretches of months at a time in between work. And the reality of the situation is that, sadly, that not a lot of people can sometimes maintain that, and they have to leave the industry because they have to feed themselves or feed their families it's that misconception, I think, is boldly wrong by the majority of people who look at the entertainment industry and consider them rich brats or spoiled or pampered or it's less than 1% of the people in our industry that are wealthy. Uber wealthy like that. And I think, and this is nothing against Variety or the trades or anything, but when you see a story in Variety that we saw this week about how Robert Downey Jr.'s made $500 million off 3 Marvel movies, and he's going to make somewhere between 80 and 100 million just for Doom.
Yeah.
That plays into everybody thinks everybody in Hollywood is rich, and who cares if they go on strike? Who cares if they do that? So, I think maybe we need to do a little bit better job and be a bit more responsible of how we present the industry in whole. I mean, that's a factual story, but in whole, that is a misguided presence out there for the people that are looking at it going, well, everybody's rich. No.
Yeah, exactly. This is the biggest actor on the biggest franchise. Of course he's going to be on top of the world.
Right.
It's just crazy to have that many people talking about how much a certain person makes. It makes me feel gross. That's one thing that I don't like about the entertainment industry is that everybody's salaries is basically public knowledge.
Yeah.
And I mean, it does make me feel gross when there are publications and there are media outlets that do talk about people's pay. And, that brings up a lot of conversation about equal pay between genders and different roles and things like that, experience. It's always a sticky situation when it comes to money instead of thinking about the art. So yeah, it's it's weird.
And our industry is like every other industry on the face of the planet when it comes to male, female. Males have always been historically paid more than females for whatever reason. It's the entertainment industry is not immune to that situation. It's getting better, but it's still got a long ways to go. And sadly, that's just the name of the game. That's the way it is. I will say, though, to the credit of, and you want to give credit where credit is due, a lot of these A-listers understand how it looks that they get so much money and stuff and have stepped away from that. I want people to know that a lot of these A-listers no longer get paid for movies. They take back-end points instead of money up front. And that's a risk because if the movie bombs, they basically don't get paid. And when they put in that type of an effort on a big movie, when you're an A-lister and you're spending, 3, 4, 5, 6 months at a time, maybe longer if you've got to go back for ADR or pickup shots or whatever, and then you don't make a dime off of it, that's a huge risk. But to their credit, a lot of A-listers are now doing that. Now, to be fair, the upside, if the movie becomes a hit, you make a ton of money off those back-end points. But it's rare, to make a substantial amount of money off back-end points in today's climate. And that's the reason I brought it up, because we all know the money isn't always there in today's box office. So it is a risk to say, I'm not going to take a salary. I'm going to take some points on whatever the profit is at the box office. Well, I mean, that's good for them. That's a risk, and sometimes it pays off, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, completely agree. And it's a very interesting place we are right now because, like we teased a little bit earlier, July was a huge, huge month
Yeah.
for the blockbusters, the summer box office. It was absolutely amazing. And we do know Fantastic Four First Steps was the final blockbuster of the summer movie season. Though Hollywood is hoping that several August releases have potential to become sleeper hits, and we're going to talk about those and let us know if you agree with that or not. But overall, the box office is 12% ahead of last year, but it's still nearly 24% behind 2019 pre-pandemic scores. Now, of course, revenues stand about $2.86 billion from May through late July. And like you said earlier, Dustin, analysts believe that it could be the second summer, highest grossing summer post COVID times of crossing that $4 billion milestone. And I mean, some of those blockbusters that we have seen so far just this year, and I'm going all the way back since the beginning of the year. And let me know if I left anything out, Dustin.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
put on there Superman, Fantastic Four, Jurassic World Rebirth, F1, How to Train Your Dragon, Captain America Brave New World, Lilo and Stitch, Minecraft, and Sinners. Now, when you think about that, what we're in the seventh, about to be eighth month, that is a lot of big hits that we've had so far this year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But on the flip side of that, there were a lot of significantly sized movies that came out that did not make money at the box office, even with critical acclaim. Thunderbolts comes to mind right off the top. It was billed as a blockbuster, but it was not at the box office. It did not make the money that they wanted it to. Sadly, and that's just kind of how it is. Snow White, another one that was billed as this massive movie that was going to just come out gangbangers that did not see success. So you do have those,
Yeah.
and
Elio, that was Pixar's worst release yet, which I guess is an
absolutely,
okay film.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it did not do well at the box office.
No, and it's still at the box office. They are desperately trying to have it make some money. It's on one screen playing once a day somewhere, but it's at the box office still. Because sometimes that's what you got to do. And here's the thing. Now we're gonna say these are the next crop of big movies, aka blockbusters, aka tent poles that are getting ready to come. But will they be hits? That's the question. We're going to call them big movies, but we don't know how they will perform. There's a couple that you're feeling pretty good about, but then a couple like, will it hit or will it won't? We've got Avatar, Fire and Ash, obviously. The sequel to Wicked, Wicked for Good, Tron, Ares, and Zootopia 2. Now, it's a pretty solid bet that Avatar, Fire and Ash, and Wicked for Good will probably make money, right? Do they become profitable? Don't know. That's hard. Even when you're making a gazillion dollars, it's hard to become profitable. We'll see. But they will probably make a ton of money at the box office. Tron, Ares, and Zootopia 2 are one of those that will it or won't it, right? You came out with, like, look at Lilo and Stitch. Everybody was like, will it, won't it? And then just boom, right? And then Snow White, everybody was like, will it? And then nothing. So proven properties don't always guarantee success. And that's where I think we are with Tron, Ares, and Zootopia 2. They could hit and be huge. They could be total bombs that are gone in a couple of weeks. It's just, we're going to have to see, right?
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, even some of those blockbusters that we mentioned earlier, like Jurassic World Rebirth, didn't do up to the standards or expectations that
That's
we
right.
thought it was going to
That's
do,
right.
right? I mean, I really do think that this last iteration of the Jurassic World franchise really left a bad taste in fans' mouths, and they didn't really flock to the box office for this Jurassic World like they did the previous ones. So, I mean, even with that being said, that's the only thing that has me worried for Avatar Fire and Ash. And you and I talked about this off the air. I think what they do right, though, is the pacing of their release dates
Yeah,
are
yeah.
way better. They're not shoving it down your throat. They build up anticipation. And they also, I feel like, keep the story fresh because the first two films, of course, are back back-to-back tight-end storylines. But now this third one, it looks like it's going to be an all-out civil war where
Yeah.
obviously it's the avatars versus the avatars. So yeah, it's going to be very freaking interesting. But yeah, I mean, even those things we thought were sure things, like I had Jurassic World as my #1 movie on my
Yeah.
box office
Yeah.
draft. And I mean, again, it didn't totally bomb, but it didn't get to the level that we were expecting it to get.
Well, and here's my thing too, and I think I don't want to keep coming back and harping on this, but it's just true. The way the trades and social media manipulate the thought process bewilders me sometimes, okay? Because Captain America Brave New World fell just shy of $500 million. $500 million. It's considered a flop. $500 million. That's where we're at nowadays, boys and girls. $500 million is considered a flop. In my estimate, it's looking like, based on the drop-off this coming weekend and probably a little after that, because you'll have some more competition coming out. Not big competition, but still competition. It looks like Fantastic Four will finish slightly above that or right about at that. They're billing Fantastic Four as a massive blockbuster success in the rebirth of the MCU.
That's crazy.
But it's likely going to make about the same amount of money that they're said was a total flop. And this is why it's confusing to gauge what is and is not working, right? It fell just shy of Superman. It's expected to drop about 60% this weekend, which would be a bigger drop than Superman was. And while it might do a little bit better overseas than Superman, it looks like it's going to fall a little short of Superman domestically, which says to me, reasonably looking, it's probably going to fall right around that $500 million mark worldwide before we see it go away. So how is one a massive success and one is a complete failure when they make the same amount of money and they're coming from the same studio? That is where I have the problem. It's like, yeah. I don't understand how we manipulate the idea of what we should and should not think about performance of movies. Thunderbolts, in my opinion, was the relaunch of the MCU. It's a, pardon the pun, fantastic movie. It's a brilliant script. The pacing is good. The acting is good. The storyline is good. It sets up the, definitive end to the last phase and sets up the next phase. Everything about that worked, and yet it didn't perform well. Because, and this is my theory, it was told not to perform. We were convinced it was not performing well, even though it was probably a great movie. So that's why, as true cinephiles, we just tell you, make up your own damn mind. If you love the movie, you love the movie. You don't have to hate it just because somebody says it wasn't good. Did you think it was good? Then you loved it. That's how I am with Captain America. I liked Captain America. Did it have issues? Yes. Was it rushed a little bit? Should they not have put in Red Hulk? Maybe they should have done this, maybe. Yes, but I could say that about any film. If you really nitpick it, it was what it was supposed to be. A quick origin story to introduce Sam as Captain America, in case people weren't watching the shows. Now you know he's the new Captain America. And it was a pure setup movie for the rest of what's about to happen. If you go into it knowing that, it's fine. It's a good movie. If you, I don't know. I just have a real issue. And so, yeah, I'm like you. I'm worried about Avatar. I'm worried about Wicked. What will the media or press tell us to think before they're released? That's going to be the big key.
Yeah, that's funny you say that because, yeah, we're already having trouble trusting media to where we're at now. So we're trying to, figure out our own lives. But I'm going to our handy dandy, lovely Bible, IMDb Pro, because I want to look up or at least see how much the Tron Ares film cost, because it looks expensive as shit. Like, I didn't see the trailer until we went to see Fantastic Four. And man, oh man, it looks very freaking expensive. Color mix, printed SD format. I bet they don't have a budget on here yet.
Looking, according to what I'm seeing, $200 to $250 million budget.
goodness gracious, man. That one has to be a blockbuster. Like, or Disney in 20th century is just gonna have to write that one freaking off. So that's what we're talking about, potential sleepers or potential complete flops, because that one specifically, that's such a niche audience, and the
Yeah,
Tron
yeah,
isn't even to like the Blade Runner, I feel like, status that
right.
those are. So I'm worried, man. And I mean, Jared Leto, it's a weird guy.
Well,
But
and
is he like a
funny.
box office success?
It's
Is he a
funny that
box
you
office
brought that
actor?
up because I think that, Jared Leto for a little stretch was doing really well. And I think they were, when he was attached to this film, it was during that stretch and they were banking on the fact that people like him. But he's had some troubles away from the industry, personal life outside. He's been accused of some stuff, and that will drop the box office appeal. So that could be
Will.
potentially like some trouble for them. And I just saw too Tron Legacy, which is the last one prior to this
Yeah.
one, $170 million budget. So it makes sense that they're saying this one's somewhere between 200, 250. If
Yeah.
the last one, however many
When
years
was that
ago.
one released?
That
Did
was a
it
long
say?
time ago, like over
Yeah.
over 10 years ago, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So
Goodness gracious.
but anyway, so yeah, that's going to be, and for anybody out there that's not in the industry or doesn't follow along and doesn't know, in order for a movie to become profitable, okay, you have to make twice what your production budget is to break
Yes.
even. To break even. Okay, so if that budget is actually $250 million, it would have to make $500 million just to break even on its production budget. Now, you also have to factor in on these big movies, sometimes they spend as much as $100 million or more on marketing. That's not even. You have to overcome that as well. So that's why you see sometimes you'll see a movie and it's made $1 billion worldwide at the box office and was not profitable for the studio. That's the risk you take with these big budget films. You basically have to make 3 times your production budget to cover the production budget and the marketing to become profitable. And then if you have celebrities that took back-end points, they're paid first. So as soon as you become profitable, they're getting their money. So you still don't see the money yet. So yeah, it's a very interesting. And then I'm sure you guys who go to the movies regularly now, or even if you're just watching them on streamers, you'll see at the opening, not only do you have the big studio, like we were teasing at the top of the show, these iconic openings, but then you'll see like 35 other production companies that are like, guys, those are financiers. So all of those people have to be paid back too. So before that film can actually make a dime into the studio's pocket, all of that has to be paid back. And that is a huge risk. Leading into, will it be sleeper? Will it be a huge hit that makes a lot of money? Is it a film that didn't cost a lot to make and like just explodes? We have some thoughts on those, right? There's a little bit. Naked Gun, okay, full reboot, seems to be getting some press, seems to be likable right now. Got Bad Guys 2, Freakier Friday, The Conjuring Last Rites, Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, The Running Man, Now You See Me, Now You Don't, Black Phone 2, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Now, I will say that Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and The Conjuring Last Rites, they probably have a pretty good shot at becoming profitable, maybe being sleeper hits, only because horror movies are relatively inexpensive to produce and make, and generally make decent profit at the box office. Now, there's been some duds. There have been some misses. But I feel like Five Nights at Freddy's 2, Black Phone 2, and The Conjuring Last Rites will likely be profitable for the studios. I'm not going to say they're going to be huge hits, but they'll likely be profitable, right?
Yeah, I completely agree. Because specifically both of those are Blumhouse productions.
Right.
So he has seen since the last iteration or the sequel to Megan 2.0, he said he came on the town and talked about how he's trying to make sure he doesn't do that same mistake
Yeah.
he did with that film with these next two films. And I don't think he will, because both of these were huge successes. They were sleepers when their first iterations
Yeah.
came out.
Yeah.
And then now I think they're going to probably make more than what their initial run made. But as far as these other ones, I think, the Running Man, I think that one's going to be a sleeper because, one, it's different. It's like fun Stephen King. It's not horror crazy Stephen King. And it's Glenn Powell, of course. So that looks very freaking fun. And Michael Cera as well.
Yeah.
Now You See Me, Now You Don't. I don't know about that one. I think that one might be a flop, which sucks because I love the first one. I haven't seen the second one. But I feel like it might be a flop because it's been so long since the other ones. And like, I feel like this is kind of a timely franchise. Maybe we kind of grown out of this time period. What do you think?
I don't know. I think as long as the story is solid, I think
Yeah.
what made the first two work, excuse me, is the twist.
Yeah.
They really were, and we're really good at figuring out movies really quick, because we write films, we do film, we can probably watch and in the first few minutes go, okay, this is how it's going to happen, this is how it's going to go down. These films did a really good job of not letting that happen. The surprises within and out, both of these films worked really well. So if this third one can maintain that type of, storytelling and suspense and like hit you, because I feel like with these type films and what made the first two successful at the box office is word of mouth, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely word of mouth. So, people saw those first two films and were like, oh my God, this came out. You have to go see this. You're not going to believe what. So if they can get that again, I feel like it'll do pretty well. If it's not, if it's one of those, let's just use property that we know people like and try to put another movie out there and it's not up to the level that the first two delivered on, then it probably will bomb. That's just the thing. The Running Man, I agree with you. I think it's going to do well because Glenn Powell is the it guy right now. There's no doubt about it. People love him. It's an interesting
He's the next Tom
concept.
Cruise, man. He's the next Tom Cruise.
Yeah, and it's an update, obviously. A retelling of the Stephen King book. And that's why I think it'll also have a little bit, because it's going to garner the Arnold fans, people who saw, from my generation, who saw the original with Arnold.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, this is a sequel. Arnold Schwarzenegger did The Running Man back in the day, and famous game show host at the time for Family Feud, Richard Dawson, was the host of the whole Running Man game show type thing, and it was huge.
Yeah.
So, but then again, we've seen this, right? Like, can we capitalize on Blade Runner? The updated Blade Runner failed miserably. Will an updated Running Man work? You never know, and that's the risk. You hear all these studios say the reason they don't do as many originals, because it's so risky. It's this, but I think over the last 5, 6, 7 years, even your proven IPs have been risks. It's sometimes they don't work. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I'm sure Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, is banking on it can do what a Complete Unknown did.
Which was 140 million.
Yeah.
140 and a half million.
Which is huge for a biopic, right? Like that's so, and they're banking on that. They are trying to like run and gun.
But the thing is, I don't know, man. I'm very back and forth because I'm very excited. I do feel like, Bruce Springsteen is that blue collar musician that a lot of Central and Southern America will gravitate towards. But also at the same time, Timothy Chalamet is a movie star. Jeremy Allen White is a television star. Is that going to have some drawback? Because if people haven't watched Shameless or The Bear, are they going to go see him? Is he enough of a draw to where people are going to go see him in theater as Bruce Springsteen?
Well, and that's the thing, right? Because the wrestling movie, the
Iron Claw.
Yeah, the Iron Claw. Jeremy Allen White was in that, and Zac Efron, who also was a TV star. Wrestling is like massively popular, and those were two massively popular stars, and that movie didn't make any money. It's a phenomenal movie. It's an outstanding movie, and I recommend everybody watch it. It's brilliant filmmaking, brilliant storytelling, brilliant performances, but those draws couldn't bring people to the seats. And so I think you're right. I mean, will he be able to deliver? Clearly his people, and pretty much with everybody in that show, The Bear, the managers of all those acts are trying to make the transition. They're putting their people in big movies. They're trying to cement that, like, look, here they are. Let's put them in big movies and see if we can crack that transition. Will it work? Don't know. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. Freakier Friday and Naked Gun. I feel like Freakier Friday will have its audience. Some people will turn out just to see, is Lindsay still a train wreck, or how's this going to play out?
She looks great.
I think
she's going to be back. But I mean, you wouldn't classify this in the same category as Axel Foley or Happy Gilmore 2?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I would. And to Disney, right? So I think it's Disney. To their credit, they're pumping it on into the theater. Where with Happy Gilmore 2 and Axel, Netflix did not take the risk, and they ended up being massively popular. They could have probably made a lot of money at the box office, but they didn't take the risk of releasing them there. So, Naked Gun, I don't know. This
Comedies
was a very...
are so hard, man. Comedies are so hard, and it's only projecting between 15 to 17 this weekend.
Naked Gun was a very niche movie with Leslie Nielsen to begin with. It was at a moment in a time where it just hit. It clicked because the kind of shit they did in the movie at the time was funny. People thought it was funny. But even Leslie Nielsen played it out, with the fart thing in it. People started to get sick of it real quick, which is why the sequels never came close to the first one. That's my worry for this one. Does that kind of humor work now? I'm not so sure it does. And I think the one thing that I saw, and I hope it's in the movie, is it's poking fun at the original. Especially O.J. Simpson, who was in the originals. If that's throughout the movie and they're basically making fun of themselves, that might work. That might translate into something really funny if they're basically poking fun at the Naked Gun franchise. That would be a movie, because that's always a good thing, right? When we can look back and just kind of make fun of ourselves, like how ridiculous we are, or oh my gosh, how did that work or that not? So if this does that, I think it might have some success. I don't think it's going to be huge. Like you said, the opening numbers don't look like it's going to be anything massive. But, will it be one if you can't get into Superman or Fantastic Four, you run over to see? Probably. I feel like that's what a lot of these movies on this potential sleepers list is going to be. It's Hangover, where you can't see the one you wanted and you just go see one, right?
Right.
I think that's what some of these are going to be. Sorry,
yeah, it's interesting. Seth MacFarlane is producing this one. It's very interesting. He was talking about, I was listening to a podcast with him, and he was talking about the process of making sure that he didn't get any comedic actors, because he was like, in the original film, they got all serious actors to play comedic parts, and that's exactly what he wanted to do for this one as well. But the only drawback, too, is I was thinking about it, and Pamela Anderson and Liam Neeson, they're both in their 60s. What reason have they given young people to gravitate to go see this movie?
They're Leslie's, Liam's even older than that.
Yeah,
he's like late 70s, bro. Because they're apparently in a romance now. She's like
I've been seeing that.
Yeah, she's late 50s and he's like mid to late 70s, and everybody's like, oh.
Yeah. I think that's a problem, though. I mean, you needed somebody younger, like a Jenna Ortega, or somebody to put in there to draw in that younger audience, because they're not going to go see this. They'd much rather go see Fantastic Four or Superman again. And I wouldn't blame them, to be honest. I do want to see this because Liam Neeson in a comedy role, and like the the promotional and marketing stuff came out, the trailers I thought were kind of funny. And Seth said something interesting too. He said, if you are an avid fan of like adult animation, like a Family Guy, like Rick and Morty, like that type of stuff, it's that type of comedy, I guess, where they keep hitting you a serious moment and then they just keep hitting you again of jokes to joke, back to back to back, which
It's
is
why
very
Ted
interesting.
did well.
So, yeah.
Right? That's the type of movie Ted was.
Yeah, exactly.
Which Seth MacFarlane. So that makes sense to me that he would try to continue that success into another franchise. That makes sense to me. So I don't know. I think they're banking on Pamela Anderson having that nice little resurgence after Showgirl, and yeah. But I think that worked so well because of the life that she's lived. That was basically a representation of herself.
Yeah.
And overcoming, the storyline was very similar to her real life, in my opinion, which is why it saw the success that it had. I don't know if it's necessarily going to translate to this.
Yeah.
I mean,
For sure, man.
We'll see.
For sure. Well, we do want to talk about our current box office draft standings. How do we want to do this? Do we just want to go back and forth like we do the top 5?
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that.
Yeah, let's start off with the 5th one, the one that freaking we had picked for each other, basically. This was the pick that we wanted to throw each other off with, and
Yes.
only one of us was successful at it because the other person was not. So the pick that Dustin chose for me was Snow White, which obviously we all know crashed and burned at the box office. Disney just wanted it to be released so they could stop thinking about it, stop seeing their two main stars fighting over social media, over a political war or in a religious war, of course. So right now, my number 5, Snow White, is sitting at 206 million, and it's not going anywhere. So Dustin succeeded at what he was meant to do, and that is give me a dud.
Yes. And my number 5, which you thought was going to be a dud, and I've seen it, you've seen it, it probably should have been a dud.
It should have been. It's so
but
bad.
Was not, for whatever reason, the Minecraft movie. Thank you, sir. Which went on to make almost $1 billion, $955 million, which, as you can see, is quite the difference between $206 million. Yeah. So our surprise landmine, hopefully it explodes kind of thing, certainly worked well for one way and not the other. But yeah, I think even with our box office draft and our number 5s, that's a prime example of something that shouldn't work works and something that should work didn't. Because you just never know.
It shows the evolution of the box office and the theater goer.
Exactly.
Because you have classic Hollywood reiteration, and you have brand new young Gen Alpha, whatever the fuck they're called now.
Yeah.
It was wild, man. It was freaking wild. But number 4 for me is Fantastic Four, which we know just came out last weekend, so it hasn't gained all of its money yet, but it's still doing pretty well. $241 million. As you see, is still past Snow White, which has ended its theatrical run, and Fantastic Four has only been in for a week. So I'm very hopeful on that one continuing moving forward. And that was the pick that I literally picked while on the show. I had one, and then you picked it, I think. I think you picked Wicked.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I gotta rethink. So I went with that one. So I'm still hopeful for that one to at least make $500 million. That's what I'm hopeful for.
Which is what I think it's going to end up doing. I think that we're going to be very close with our superhero movies. Good news for me is I've got 2 on my list that are still in theaters and still making decent money. They're hanging in the top 5 or the top 10, and they're still making money. So they've got a little bit more legs to ride on. One of them would be my number 4, How to Train Your Dragon, which is currently at $608 million, over $500 million, doing really well. It's hanging on. It's still making more than $1 million a day. So I feel like it's got at least another couple weeks, maybe a month of legs left in it before it disappears. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. That's doing pretty well. What I like about it, is, and I think why I'm doing so well is the majority of my movies, while not massive, they're all making more than, they're consistently making more than $500 million. So, which is, sometimes It's the turtle versus the rabbit, right? Sometimes the slow, consistent outdoes the rabbit. So we're going to see. But anyway, my number 4, How to Train Your Dragon, holding strong, $608 million.
Yeah, man. Like I said, you're doing pretty well. But I also picked a family-friendly kids movie that was my third pick, and I'm very happy that I did because these live-action remakes can be a little interesting
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
So I went with the second highest-grossing movie of the year, Lilo and Stitch, which has grossed $1.02 billion. Now, honestly, when I picked this one, I didn't think it was going to make that kind of money.
Yeah, no.
I'm so super happy it did. To the point where now they're thinking about doing the Moana thing, where they're already green lighting a second live action one, which will be interesting because we haven't seen any of those yet. Of course, Mufasa had a second. Our Lion King had a second live action one, but it was a prequel, not a sequel.
Right.
So yeah, it's very interesting. That so far has been, I wouldn't say the biggest success of my draft or the biggest surprise of my drafts, but the biggest success of my draft so far. And I think will inevitably end up being in my second spot overall because I
Probably.
think my number 2 is probably gonna make the most money. But yeah, my third pick, Lilo and Stitch, at $1.02 billion.
Yeah, and it's what's currently, as of right now, it's what's keeping you in the game.
Oh, yeah.
By a landslide. That's the what's keeping you hanging around is that film right now. My number 3, again, came real close to $500 million, and in my opinion, this is just my opinion, it would have made $500 million at the box office, maybe a little over it, but it was hurried out to get onto Disney Plus, which in my opinion was a mistake because I think this thing had a little bit more legs left to it at the box office, but they were in a hurry to get it on Disney Plus. And I'm talking about Captain America: Brave New World, which finished its run at $415 million. Not too shabby, but if you hear what people say, it's a complete bust. What? I don't know. But Captain America: Brave New World, check it out. Apparently a lot of people are watching it on Disney Plus. It's doing really well on Disney Plus. So I get why they wanted to push it on there. But I feel like this thing was unfortunately missed a little opportunity because I really do think it had another 3 weeks or a month left that it could have made money at the box office, and that's unfortunate. But anyway, Captain America: Brave New World, $415 million so far.
Completely agree, man. Completely agree. My second overall pick was Avatar: Fire and Ash. Of course, to be determined, but the last 2 films have made over $2 billion. So I felt very confident, and I feel very confident in this one. And James Cameron's out there talking about new projects, as I'm sure people have seen on my social media, me talking about it. He wants to create an animated series where it's like an anthology series following different characters and different time periods of that planet of Pandora. So that's cool. But I think he's really trying to get more people interested and used to the Avatar franchise, I guess you could say. People are interested in it, but I think he's trying to get more people used to it. And as James Cameron does, he loves, filming with the highest grade technology. So these films are much more about going to see the effects, the visuals, the amazing all that is cinema as far as cinematography. But yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful for that one. Number 2 for me, Avatar: Fire and Ash.
There you go. My number 2, also to be determined. It will be coming out also towards the end of the year. And I'm feeling really confident about this one as well. Wicked for Good. The first one made over $700 million, and that's before anybody really, unless you were a theater person, you really didn't know what it was. Now everybody knows what it is, and it was a massive success. So I think now with that built-in new audience, because I think it was a combination of maybe some theater people, and then you had Cynthia fans and you had Ariana fans, and that's why that first one kind of boomed bigger than what they probably thought it was going to do. But now you have that combination on top of all these new people that now know what it is. And we get to see Dorothy and the gang in this one more. So I think you're going to draw out the legit Wizard of Oz fans into this one as well. So I'm feeling really confident. I think this one could potentially make another $1 billion. Like I said, 700 plus million for the first one. It looks like it's on track. It's coming out around a holiday time frame. So, yeah, I'm feeling really confident that this one could see $1 billion. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. Wicked for good. I think it will end up being, if not my number one, my number two on the list by the time it's over, because but it does have the potential, in my opinion, to pass Minecraft, I think. So we'll see.
Yeah, completely agree. My number one pick that I did was Jurassic World Rebirth, which is currently sitting at $724 million. And I'm sure, like I've been saying, like, Dominion really ruined the franchise. I went back and looked. The gross overall for the world is over $1 billion.
Yeah.
Like, so that last iteration fucked everybody up. They brought back the OG characters. Everybody thought it was going to be an amazing movie, and it was not. It was pretty freaking bad.
Yeah.
One of those where I was like, damn, I really kind of debated walking out of movies, which we never like to do.
No.
So yeah, that's why I had faith in the Jurassic World franchise with the reboot with Scarlett Johansson, of course, Mahershala Ali. But it is what it is. But I think they will continue with this new iteration and making more films.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens.
I mean,
I definitely think Ali was supposed to die at the end of that, but
Yes.
they made a creative decision to leave
The
him alive.
studio made a creative decision.
Yeah.
The actors and the writers did not want that creative
Yeah.
decision, but that's the curse of, you might get the big money, but you're also at the beck and call of the studio. So
Exactly.
Creative arts. I think though this one's still in the top 5, and it's overperforming internationally, which is good for you because which is why I think it's kind of still hanging. But yeah, I think it'll finish its run somewhere between where it's at right now and 800, 900 million. So not bad.
No.
My number one overperformed everybody's expectations. It was never expected to get where it's currently sitting as of today while we're recording this, but it is. Superman, over $500 million, $511 million, and that's with underperforming at the international box office. But I did see this week that it's starting to pick up at the international box office. What? So maybe people are like, oh, well, maybe this isn't so bad. Let's check it out, even though we fucking hate America. But I don't know. But this one's well overperforming, and I'm feeling really comfortable with. I like where it's headed. I think it's going to finish its run, I don't know, 600 million maybe just under 600 million, which is huge for this because it wasn't even expected to get anywhere close to that.
Isn't it the highest grossing Superman now?
Solo film of all time, yeah. Which, I'm thrilled for. It's a solid reboot. It's a solid, okay, Superman's back. He's the Superman everybody apparently wants to see. So, yeah, I'm real happy with the performance of this one. My number one, Superman. It's still rocking and rolling. It's been number 1 or number 2 for the last month and a half. So it's killing it. So yeah, man, my number one, Superman. So where does that leave us? If you've been tallying, did you have the calculators out? Your your incubus, whatever. What is it? What is it? Well, it's this much ahead right now. Me by $315,000. Where I think, and Logan and I have been talking about this off the air. Where I think that leaves us is Avatar for Logan is going to have to make up that $300,000 difference and overperform by at least 200 or 300,000 to squeak out the win. Because I think Wicked is going to overperform what people are thinking it's going to do. So it's going to be really tight. So he's got to, where I think Avatar will probably do better than Wicked by a little bit, maybe a big amount, I don't know. But I do think it'll make more money than Wicked. But the balancing is you have to overcome the nearly $500 million that you're behind before we can start climbing on top of whatever Avatar would make over Wicked. So Either way, this has been like really fun, and I think it's going to be really close. I think we're going to finish within that range. Somewhere between the $200,000, $300,000 range will be the difference between who wins and who loses in the end, I think, which is really good. It just says we know a lot about the box office and a lot about movies because we've been predicting pretty well. I love it, man. I think, that we build it as the first annual, and I do think this is something we should just continue because this was a lot of fun, and it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I mean, not only do I still have Avatar Fire and Ash coming out, but I still have multiple weeks with Fantastic Four as well. So that's definitely gonna help out a lot. Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully. It is seeing big dips, but
yeah, we both looked it up. I think Wicked, the original one, was like 700 million.
Yes.
And we definitely both think that Wicked will probably do more than that, probably even pass the $1 billion mark.
Probably.
Because I mean that fandom, and you're going to see more of Dorothy in the original Wizard of Oz storyline center in this film, which I do think will bring out an older audience that maybe the original Wicked did not have.
Right.
So that will be very interesting. But yeah, it is fun, man. It has been. It's been really freaking cool. It's really Minecraft's fault. Fucking Minecraft.
I know.
Like, it is really like.
But
it didn't even have. It could have still been a box office success. It just had to be a little less of a success.
Well,
like $300 million less of a success.
I'm telling you, man. Everybody go back and watch that show where we make these picks. And I'm convinced, I'm telling you, it was the creepy ass dwarfs. I said, I was saddling you with that film because I thought people would be terrified by those dwarfs and kids would not like it, which is obviously what Disney was banking on. There was the little bit of controversial pro-Israel, non-pro-Israel, whatever with Rachel and Gal, but I don't think that was it. I think it was creepy for kids, and it just didn't translate to the kid audience, and oops.
Yeah. I will say, though, I love how colorful this year of cinema has been. We've seen so much color, which is what we need right now in the world that is so dark. So Hollywood has been paying attention, and they've seen it. So I love it. I love the color.
So let's talk about this. Let's wrap it up with this, because this is the question everybody keeps asking, right? Will we ever get back to pre-COVID levels? I have some thoughts on this. Will we get back to pre-COVID levels with money? Yes. We will see higher money returns. We'll see it break box. It'll be the biggest box office ever, blah, 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 blah. But there's a reason for that. It has kind of shifted to event type things, right? Going to the movie now is an event type thing, right? That's why you have these tentpole movies that are doing really well. It has turned into everybody's going to go flock to these big movies. And when you go to the event type movies, the Super Fantastics, the Barbenheimers, you're packing out IMAX, you're packing out RPX, you're packing out the 3D. Ticket prices
4D,
are massively more expensive than they were pre-COVID. Because of needing to accumulate profit and because of these event type movies. That's why the money will eventually surpass pre-COVID levels and get back to where it needs to be. Attendance, in my opinion, never going to happen. We will never see the seats filled like we did pre-COVID. That is just not going to happen anymore. One, because we have shifted to the event type movies. And two, the window is much shorter. You basically have a couple of weeks to see a movie at the theater. If you don't do it, it's gone. And it's on a streamer already. And three, the streamers. People would rather wait and watch it on a streamer for their monthly fee as opposed to paying the $28 for the ticket for the event to see it. And that's why I don't think we're ever going to get back to attendance levels, packing the theaters out, the seats out, like we were pre-COVID. That's just my thought on it, but that plays heavily into what I've been saying ever since we started this show 8 years ago. I think the future of the theater chains and where it needs to go back to is the demise of these multiplexes. It needs to go back to a 1 or 2 screen theater, make it the event, make it the big deal, like it's a family going out, it's a big, like it was back in the day, like it, I think that's where it's headed, because you're never going to fill all those seats in those multiplexes. When you're showing that one film on 8 different screens, you're never going to fill all 8 of those theaters. So, but if you're showing it on 1 or 2, you're going to pack that out. People will be around the building in lines like it used to be back in the day. I think that's where it's headed back to, where I think it should go back to. That way you'll see the money, you'll see success, you'll see profit, but you won't see a lack of attendance or a lack of trying to, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I could definitely see that because 16 theaters in a Cineplex is crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're not gonna ever fill that up. But I don't know if it'll ever go back to the 1 or 2, maybe 10. I think I could see him knocking it down to like Cineplexes with 10 screens, but like the nearly 20 theaters or Cineplexes with 20 theaters is insane because yeah, there's no way. There's absolutely no way.
But aren't you like me? Don't you love to roll up into like a town and in their little downtown area see the old like majestic type theater with the marquee and the thing, and there's something really, I guess if you're a cinephile, if you're a true cinephile and just like a passionate movie fan, there's something really special about that. That was the big lure back in the day. You wanted to be in that line around the building hoping you could get a seat. You wanted to make it a big family event. You wanted to, for me, it was always something really special to actually have to walk up to the box office, right? They call it the box office. That doesn't even exist anymore. In my day, you had to actually walk up to that little box office and buy your ticket. There's something really special and nostalgic and just unique and real about that I think we're desperately missing right now with the theater experience. So whether you're right with it gets down to like 8 or 10, or if I'm right and we get down to like back to the 1 screen or the 2 or 3 screens, but I think we have to see the demise of the 18, 20, 24 screens.
Yeah,
I think
that's not sustainable. It's not. It's like it's no way. And I also did too. My final thoughts. I listened to a podcast with the CEO of IMAX, and he was talking about how they gross probably about, it's less than 20%, but it's about 16 to 17% of the world gross of movies. Like basically 16 or 17% of movies that are seen every single year are from IMAX screens, which I think is kind of crazy because IMAX like barely, I wouldn't say barely, but I mean they have like a little over 3,000 screens all across the world. And I think that's wild.
That's exactly what I wanted to follow up with that point with. You're going to see that percentage increase because as we transition to the event style, this is where we're headed. They're going to need more event screens. Yeah. I think you're going to see the expansion of, think about it, if you have a building that's got 18 screens in it, right? You can eliminate half that and build a bigger theater for an IMAX theater, right? And give that event. So you don't have to necessarily lose the space or convert to a smaller building, but you're going to convert to a bigger screen. Right. And I think so you'll see IMAX's percentage continue to increase over the next decade where the event style movie continues to be the trend. So
well, and it's interesting too because studios are trying to turn movies into event style movies. Like if you saw that Alien Romulus was released in IMAX, The Amateur with Rami Malek was released in IMAX.
Yeah.
You don't think of those as event style movies, but those studios are going to try to turn those into them to maximize on profitability, at least capitalize on it, attempt to. So yeah, it is very interesting, the world we live in. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be, I'm curious. I'm curious to see where it's all going to play out by the end of,
Me too.
Our times here on this earth.
Yeah, it's going to be, And my grandbabies and your kids, it's going to be really interesting to see what their theater experience is going to look like, right? Like, I'm so waiting for that to be able to take my grandkids to the movies because what is it going to be? What is it going to, like me? I remember going to the movies as a kid and it's going to just be a whole different world taking that. It's going to be, I don't know. Or maybe it'll be exactly back to what it was when I went.
Who
Who
knows, man? It
knows?
might be.
If I'm right, maybe it'll be exactly like it was when Gramps went to the theater. Who knows? I don't know.
Exactly, man. Whew, what a great conversation
Yes.
about the box office. Love that for the industry news. There's a lot of craziness, and of course, we will keep you updated on the entertainment news that is happening on social media. So be sure to follow us on social media at JLoganAustin and at CrazyAntCEO,
Yes.
so you know our thoughts and opinions on everything that's going down.
Because
in
we've
Hollywood.
got them.
We got him, man. We got him. But now we're transitioning over to our top 5 segment, where this week, keeping it in theme with everything, it is top
Yes.
5 favorite films from 2025 that were not box office hits.
Correct.
Oh my goodness. There were a few out there that I definitely feel like, they were good. They were critically acclaimed. They made their money back, but they weren't like, oh my God, this was amazing.
Right. Some of them
there's
made
a
their money
couple
back.
more.
Some didn't. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's just.
There's a couple more too that I just haven't seen yet that I really want to go see. Like, of course, Naked Gun, but of course, like the couple of different ones that have been out there, like Eddington, a couple more A24 movies that are going to come out. Super excited about those.
Yeah.
But number 5 for me goes to The Gorge. You want to know why? Because it wasn't even at the box office.
It wasn't.
Man, oh man. Which this should have been an event style film. Imagine seeing that gorge on an IMAX screen.
Yeah.
That would have been crazy. So I think they really missed an opportunity over at Apple TV Plus because this is an Apple film. So I do really think that they had the opportunity to make some money. Of course, their box office success this year was F1, but I do think that they could have stepped outside of that comfort zone and tried The Gorge, but they were very timid, obviously, with pulling Wolves out of the theatrical release schedule, with how bad Killers of the Flower Moon did at the box office last year. So Apple is scared. Even Napoleon last year with Joaquin Phoenix didn't do great at the box office.
Right.
So they're scared to put their films in the Cineplexes because they don't think it'll make any money. But I do think this one could have made money because it's in that same vein as an Alien Romulus. That did do pretty well at the box office. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Number 5 for me, The Gorge.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And it's funny because, like you said, they pulled Wolves, that which was supposed to be theatrically released, and now they've lost the sequel to that because they're not going to release it theatrically. Maybe they're going to rethink that after F1.
Maybe.
But the creator said, we'll see you later. Part of the deal was I'm supposed to get a theatrical release, and he basically bailed on it. But it's interesting because that's Clooney and Pitt, and it did not do well. On Apple, it didn't do well. It wasn't even watched that much on the streamer. And they had to be panicking about F1 when they saw that people weren't even watching it on the streamer. They're like, do people not care about Brad Pitt anymore? Oh, shit. But this is just, it goes back to the risk of Hollywood. This industry is all about risk. There is no reward without risk, and you just don't know. Yeah, Wolves probably would have sucked, but look at F1. Clearly, people are not over Brad Pitt. So, The Gorge, I agree with you. I think that one you should have taken the shot at. You should have. I think it would have probably done well. I'm right there with you. Honorable mentions real quick for my number 5, playing into that. Axel F, Axel Foley, The Return, and the recent Happy Gilmore 2. Both were made the decision not to put in theaters. Both massive hits. The nostalgia factor, we want to see them again. It's a nice way to wrap up the story. Now we have a definitive ending to those characters. Would have been huge at the box office. Netflix chose not to do it. Oops. And there you go. So it's just one of those things. My number 5, and all of mine actually, were box office releases, but for some reason just did not click, but are doing massively well on the streamers, which would have said maybe you should have kept them in the theaters a little bit longer. I don't know. My number 5, Novocaine, which I think is great. This is just a really fun movie with a really fun cast. Amber Midthunder, who was in Prey, that the Predator movie Prey or whatever, had that huge success. I hadn't really seen her before that, but she's solid. I think she's a great actress. And of course, Jack Quaid, who's like, he's the quiet it guy right now, right? He's like if the Glenn Powell passes, Jack Quaid's there kind of a guy right now. And of course, Jacob from all the Spider-Man movies. This is a really fun movie. It's basically, if you don't know the premise, guys, it's this guy and his girl of his dreams that he's really wanting a shot with, trying to be with, and all this. She basically gets kidnapped, and for whatever reason, he can't feel pain. Like, he's oblivious to kidnap. So he decides that he should be a superhero and basically rescue her. And it starts this whole kind of a thing. It's a really fun action flick that's sometimes over the top goofy, sometimes very serious. There's clearly a message behind it, but it's a fun movie. Novocaine, number 5. I think if you guys haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's on the streamers now. It's on Prime. It's a really fun movie. I wish would have done better. It was a victim, though, if I'm not mistaken. I went back and looked at. It was released amongst biggies and just was overshadowed. It didn't get seen. It was like, well, we're not going to go see this. So there it is. My number 5, Novocaine. Really fun. Really fun.
Nice, man. Nice. Yeah, I still want to see that one. That's on my list.
It's a good one. You'll like it.
Yeah. Number 4 for me was One of Them Days. Of course, this was the Keke Palmer SZA-led one. And I thought this one was so fun. It was literally a current day Friday, I feel like. And I thought it would have brought a decent amount of audiences back to the box office. But, it was kind of not really marketed well. And it kind of just showed up out of nowhere. It actually did pretty okay at the box office, for that particular style of film and for the budget that it had. It did pretty decent, but it wasn't obviously a success as all of these other blockbusters that we've been talking about. But I was able to catch it on Netflix, which of course is not the proper way to watch films, but again, it kind of just showed up out of nowhere and then it was gone out of the theaters to make room for all of these big tentpoles. And I think Captain America just came out around that time period as well.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a really good film that I feel like did not get the credit it deserved. So number 4 for me, One of Them Days.
Yeah, great pick. I agree with you. Like, I think the trend on both of our lists is a lot of these movies were just released at a time where they had no shot because they were going to be on 1 screen, 2 screens, and play only a couple of times a day, and So unfortunately, that's definitely what happened to my number 4. It was definitely a victim of that. But was profitable. It wasn't a massive hit, but it was profitable. And it's a really great film and a really good follow-up sequel. You don't hear me say that a lot, right? Sequels don't normally come out of the gates and are better than the original. This one was. I'm talking about Den of Thieves Pantera. Of course, revisiting with Gerard Butler and O'Shea Jackson. You remember the first one? It's like O'Shea and them were like a gang of thieves, and Gerard Butler was a questionable cop on a team that was trying to take them down. Not necessarily a good guy, but doing his thing. Really fun movie, really great movie. So I was surprised it got a sequel because not a lot of people had even heard of the first one, but it did well. I guess it had life on the streamers. People found it, and so they were like, okay, let's do a sequel. The sequel is infinitely better than the first, and I liked the first. I thought the first one was really entertaining and really good. This one revisits now. Our questionable cop is no longer a cop for reasons obvious. O'Shea's character, Donnie, was able to escape in the first one. I don't want to give too much away because you really kind of need to watch the first one to see the second one. But basically, it's going down, and our old boy cop is tired of being a cop, tired of being a good guy. He's seeing how the bad guys are profiting and getting rich, and he wants to get in on that action. And so he shows up, and Donnie's like, thinks he's in trouble, and then he finds out, no, dude, I want to join your group. I want to be in on this diamond heist with you. He's like, what? So this one takes place over on foreign soil, not in America, and it's a really fun film. It's high action, it's high energy, it's got some nice little twists here or there to it. If you're just into that run and gun style action flick that's got some twists and turns to it, you definitely want to check this one out. Den of Thieves Pantera. Worth the watch, but watch the first one first.
Yeah, for sure, man. Completely agree. Number 3 for me goes to Drop. This is a universal thriller, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
It's got Brandon Skelnar, who is popping up everywhere. He's really making a name for himself. He was in It Ends With Us, of course. He's been doing a lot of television, or popping up in a lot of television right now. With 1923, he
Yep.
was
Yep.
also in The Offer, which I had no idea about until I just went to IMDb Pro. It looks like he recently, I feel like, changed management because like he was in New Girl in 2017, and then he was also in Vice, that one with
Yep.
fucking Christian Bale. Of course, those didn't do well, and New Girl was like forever ago. So then he was in Midway. But if you look him up, you'll know exactly who he is. And then the main actress there, she's been in White Lotus and
Oh, yeah.
other things
Yeah.
like that. But I mean, the budget was only $11 million, and overall the world gross, they made about 28. So of course not the biggest box office splash, but still considered a success.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting too because it was produced by Universal, which of course has the deal with not only James Wan but Jason Blum. And Jason Blum was attached as a producer, but it looks like the main producer on the film was Michael Bay.
Yeah,
So it looks like it was more of his film and not more of that type of horror genre. But it was a fun movie. It wasn't perfect, no, but it was fun trying to figure it out, who done it type of thing. Definitely worth the watch, I feel like. So check it out on Peacock. I think it's on.
Yeah, right. It's not a cinematic masterpiece by any
No.
means, but it's fun. It's a fun
Yeah.
movie. It'll keep you entertained.
Yeah.
And it does have a couple of little twists or whatever. I mean, I did kind of figure it out early, but but it's fun, and it's great acting. It's really fun acting. It's really I enjoyed it. Hell, it's a good one if you're kicked back on the couch and looking for something to
Yeah.
watch. It's a good way to kill a
Exactly.
couple hours. My number 3, I'm actually surprised this did not do well at the box office and that it kind of faded away as fast as it did. This has everything you would think would be a huge hit at the box office. Big stars. It's a cool action movie. It's a suspense thriller. It's got some edge of the seat moments, and you're thinking, yeah, that's everything you want at a movie theater. And for whatever reason, just did not catch. It did open against some bigger things, but I still feel like it should have done better, even opening against bigger things. I think it should have done better. I'm talking about The Amateur. This is the one with Rami Malek and Lawrence Fishburne and Rachel Brosnahan. And it's basically this CIA operative who is not out in the field. He is not a field agent. He's a computer geek. He's a data analyst, and but he's being helped by somebody. And he comes across these documents that show that the U.S. is behind some shady shit, killing some people they shouldn't be killing in action. And then all of a sudden, his wife, who's over in Europe, gets killed. Right after he supposedly finds out about this stuff that he should have never found out about. And so this little data analyst goes to them and says, I'm going to expose all this bullshit if you don't let me go kill the people that killed my wife. And they're like, you're a data. And they don't want him to. Well, he decides to do it anyway. Causes all kinds of trouble. This is a really interesting premise and a really good movie. And Rami Malek, because if you guys are familiar with Rami, from Queen and all these, Mr. Robot, he's a quirky, weird guy anyway. Just how he moves and talks and just is. And bringing that to this character on an elevated level just made sense. And then, of course, you're like, wait, how did he land Rachel Brosnahan? You're thinking that the whole time, too. And if you landed somebody like Rachel Brosnahan, I'd be pissed, too. I'd want to go kill some motherfuckers that killed her, too. So it just... Lawrence Fishburne he was kind of hidden fave in the movie, though. He trains him, and the idea was that the CIA was going to have their main guy train him so that he would spook him and realize he couldn't do it and doesn't want to do it. Backfired. Didn't happen like that. And of course, you know why I like this movie so much, though? Because there's a little bit of a cameo. It's not very long. It's maybe 4 minutes total screen time, 5 minutes tops total screen time. Not a lot of action from him by any means. In fact, no action from him whatsoever. All dialogue. But my man Johnny B, John Bernthal, I didn't even know he was in it. Just made a boop, there he is. Hey, John Bernthal. And again, steals the scenes that he's in. It's 2 scenes, 5 minutes total max, but he steals it, and I'm all in. You guys know, any movie Johnny Bernthal's in, I'm in on. So my number 3, The Amateur. Rare fact, it's a remake. If you guys did not know, it's actually a remake from a movie not even really that old, like 15 years ago maybe or whatever. Both are on Hulu right now. So if you're a cinephile, a real film guy, and you want to see the differences, how accurate it was, how much did they change, watch them back to back. I did, and I was like, I watched the new one. I had seen the old one, but couldn't remember it. So I went back and watched the old. It was really interesting to see the story changes and the little bit of dynamic about what they flipped to make it more current, what they kept the same. Very interesting stuff. So check both out on Hulu, The Amateur.
Very nice, man. Very nice. Number 2 for me goes to 28 Years Later. Now, this was the third iteration of this franchise, of course, taking big pockets of time between each film's release date. And the night before, I watched the middle one. I watched the 28 Weeks Later,
Yes.
and then I watched the 28 Years Later. Still have yet to see 28 Days Later, which is the main one, of course, Danny Boyle and Cillian Murphy did together. Which was, I guess, so iconic, and I still need to see. But now I'm all in to the franchise. It's really fun. It's really cool. And I do feel like they are setting it up for different films, more films to come out as well. Aaron Taylor Johnson did absolutely amazing, and the small amount that he was in, even though he was billed as the main character. Jodie Comer, though, was in the majority of it, and he did freaking awesome. Absolutely, or she did absolutely awesome. Loved her because she was playing a mother who I think had brain cancer, and she basically would switch personalities and have hallucinogen thoughts and all of these different things. So it was very interesting to see how she approached that dynamic in a zombified world, obviously.
Yeah.
And then Ralph Fiennes, is that his name? Voldemort,
Yeah.
And Conclave and all the good things. He was in this too, and I think he did absolutely amazing. But like I said, I'm in love with this franchise now. Still need to watch the first one and then continue to watch the rest of them. But number 2 for me, 28 Years Later.
There you go. I love it. Yeah, it's a great franchise. I've been watching them since the beginning, and they're just outstanding. They're
It's fun. It's fun.
You know, it's a different take on the whole zombie thing. It's a whole different take on, like, you know, but it's really, really fun, and it works. So, and again, the release strategy, they're long enough in between to where it makes you want to see them. You're still invested. You're still interested. My number two, this is a great film. This film caught me completely off guard. It is completely not what I expected it to be. It is not what they marketed it as. It is not what it's billed as. It is completely a full 360 away from how it was billed and marketed. Death of a Unicorn. It's currently on HBO Max. Now, this bad boy's got Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega and Will Poulter. So that should tell you right there. Téa Leoni. It's a phenomenal cast. Who all knock it out of the park, by the way. They are. Will Poulter is just like hilarious in this thing, but not hilarious. He's not supposed to be hilarious, but it is. The premise is it's these really rich folks who like have this wildlife sanctuary, and the old guy's dying, and he's basically in Paul Rudd's character is like coming in to shore things up and then basically take over the company to ensure that the money stays in the family the way it's supposed to, blah, 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 blah. We find out quickly that this family isn't as nice as they claim to be. But I'm not going to spoil it because you have to watch this thing. But basically the premise is the death of a unicorn is when Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega's characters are on the way up to this refuge, they accidentally strike and kill a unicorn on the road. And then, of course, it's like, is that a unicorn? What the fuck are we looking at right here? Is it really what? And then it just goes off the tracks batshit crazy from there. Like, whatever you thought it might potentially be from that moment on, put it all aside because it's anything different from everything you thought it was going to be. It's just it's unique, it's original, it takes in real unicorn folklore and tales with an original spin on the story. Like I said, the acting is phenomenal. It's just yeah, it's one of those movies that you really, I use the term train wreck because it's like watching a train wreck that you can't turn away from. You like, once you find out the movie's not what you thought it was, most people be like, oh, I'm just going to click this. It's not but you can't. You literally are like, no, I got to see what happens next. I got to keep watching this. And wow, do yourselves a favor. Watch Death of a Unicorn. But do not include the kids. Do not include the kids. This Jenna Ortega, I know she has young fans from Wednesday, and she got a nice young following as well as older following. But and then of course unicorns, My Little Pony, unicorns, Rainbow Bright. Woo! No, keep the kids away from this. They will never look the same again at unicorns. I promise you. Keep the kids away from it. My number 2, Death of a Unicorn, and man, Paul Rudd, bro. I love Paul Rudd. And I'm going to admit it. I'm a fanboy of Jenna Ortega. I'm all in. I love her. I haven't seen a thing yet that she's been in that I hated. I fucking hated that movie with The Weeknd, but I loved her in it. She was phenomenal in it. The movie sucked, but yeah, she's great. I'm just all in on her. So check that one out. I can't wait for you guys to see it. And I want to see your reaction.
I love how she takes risks. She's a young actress that takes risks that doesn't get put into a type box. I think she's the future of Hollywood, to be honest. I thought Millie Bobby Brown was going to be, but she's the future of Netflix. So
Jenna Ortega, Isabella Merced. There's a few that are willing to just take any role that's so drastically different from what you normally see them in. And I think you're right. I think definite.
Completely agree. Well, my number 1 film goes to Warfare. I've talked about this film so much on this podcast. This was such a, I'm going to go to the movie theater because I got to kill some time in between some gigs type of thing. And it turned out to be the best thing that could have happened to me as a cinematic experience for this year. It was the biggest surprise. I'm telling you, I love doing this sometimes. I didn't even watch the trailer before going into this movie. Oh. I've done that a few times with Belfast and a couple of different ones that are Oscar nominated and stuff. And it's honestly some of the funnest movies that I've ever been a part of witnessing. And like I said, if you don't know what Warfare is, it's a mission to Iraq. It's just a group of guys trying to survive and trying to get out so they can get back home. Things happen, obviously. It's based on a true story.
Yep.
The person or one of the soldiers who were a part of that platoon, or I don't even want to disrespect by saying the wrong term, but a part of that group of guys, a group of soldiers who go and do this mission, actually co-directed it. The real life guy co-directed him, actually going forward and doing it. But it's a great film, phenomenal. If you guys have not seen it, please do yourself a favor and do so. It's an amazing piece of cinematic brilliance, in my opinion. So yeah, number 1 for me, Warfare.
Boom. There you go. I love it. And I would agree with your assessment. Fantastic film. And cinematically fantastic. It's a really beautiful. It's about
so many young actors.
Yeah,
many young actors in that one.
Yeah, and even though it's a touchy subject and it's about war and it's dark, it's beautiful. It's just beautifully done. It's just my number 1. And I'll be honest with you, I was super excited about this one, and it lived up to my expectations. But it's a sequel to a film that I missed completely when it first came out. I didn't even know. I found it way later on a streamer and watched it and freaking loved it. And then found out the sequel was coming. I'm like, hell yeah. My number 1 is The Accountant 2. Again, one of those rare instances where the sequel is actually way better than the original. And the original was really good. It was a unique twist. It's about a guy who suffers from social anxiety and autism. He's on the spectrum, and he's a social, but he obviously uses that to his advantage with numbers and basically starts working with the mob to cover up money and all. It's a really thing, but it's odd. Anyway, that movie and Anna Kendrick and Ben Affleck and J.K. Simmons, just a fantastic film. You have to watch that one first, obviously. But it ends in a way where you could definitely see, oh, this story could continue. But then for years, it was like nothing. And then all of a sudden, hey, we're going to get the sequel. Yay. As I just established with my other film, Johnny Bernthal, it was Anna Kendrick, J.K. Simmons, Ben Affleck, and Cynthia. That was the main crowd. But Bernthal plays Ben Affleck's brother in the first one. It's minimal role. You don't see him very much, but you get the context of this guy is like real important in Christian's life, in Ben Affleck's character's life. And you want more. Well, The Accountant 2 delivers. It's all about their brotherhood and their dynamic. He's in the whole movie with them throughout, and it's just elevated. The bar scene alone is worth watching this movie. Bernthal, to me, he's another one, like you just said, that takes risks. This guy he kills it at you buy him as a tennis coach, right? You buy him as the Punisher. You buy him as a zombie killer. It doesn't matter. Or Ford versus Ferrari as an executive, as a Ford executive. It doesn't matter what he does. And he basically is Bernthal in everything he does because he's got got that mannerism. He's got that dialect. He delivers the lines basically the same no matter what. And yet he delivers on the characters. And it's
awesome.
That's what makes him so good. It's like, how can you be exactly the same but totally different? And Bernthal somehow pulls that off and makes you believe it. This movie's really good. It's a solid story. It's a good follow-up about the expansion of and the brothers' relationship and where it fits in and where they're headed. It's just a solid storytelling. I think that's why it worked. It's fun, it's action-filled, but it's also very story-driven, dialogue-driven, has moments between the brothers. It's solid. It's solid storytelling. It's solid filmmaking, which is why I think it works so well, and which is why I was kind of bummed it did not do well at the box office. It was like, I don't know. I think the reason, though, is because, like me, I think a lot of people had never, what do you mean Accountant 2? What's The Accountant? They had never seen the first one, which, watch the first one. You're going to love it, and then catch this one. My number one, The Accountant 2. Fantastic film. So good. So fun.
For sure, man. For sure. Well, we want to know, what is your sleeper film of the year that might not have been a box office success, or like I said, just a sleeper film that not enough people are talking about?
Yeah.
Please be sure to let us know in the YouTube comment section below, and add us on X, Threads, any of the places on social media. We love the fan interaction. That's what it's all about, man.
We do.
That's what it's all about. Now transitioning over to the box office recap, where, of course, Fantastic Four: First Steps came in at the number one spot with $117.6 million. Superman at number 2 with $25 million. Jurassic World Reboot at number 3 with $13 million. F1 the movie at number 4 with $6.2 million. And number 5 was Smurfs with $5.4 million, which means they kicked I Know What You Did Last Summer out of the top 5, which is kind of crazy because I've heard Smurfs is also pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
And yet, I Know What You Did still hanging in there at a few theaters. I don't know why, but well.
It's crazy. Like a 2-week theatrical run, basically. 2
Yeah,
or 3 weeks.
I mean, you can find it. Put it this way. It's on a lot of screens still, but it's only playing like once or twice a day.
Yeah.
But, so while they're billing it as still on 3,000 screens, you basically have 2 shots during the day to watch it, and then they switch the movie to a different movie. So it's like,
exactly. New movies coming out. We touched on these a little bit earlier in our industry news conversation. Naked Gun, The Bad Guys 2, She Rides Shotgun, and Together. So be sure to check out those.
That's that Dave Franco and Allison Brie movie, that horror movie with
that Together one.
Yeah.
Where they stick together. It looks weird, man. It looks weird.
It looks interesting to say the very least. Yeah, I think I might
that's
check
a
that
neon
out.
film.
I think so. Neon's like, the The poor man's
Poor man's
A24.
A24.
Yeah, they're still doing it. She Rides Shotgun also, though. That's the one with Taron Egerton and Anna Sophia Robb that where the daughter is being hunted and he takes her on the run to keep her safe.
Yeah.
But he's apparently a very creepy motherfucker and she's not real
Yeah.
safe with him in the car. So, and I love Taron Egerton, so I might check that one out too. You know, just why not? Right? You know, just,
Exactly.
let's see 'em all.
Man. I love it. I love it. Movies you can still go see. Oh, Hi. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Maybe. Eddington, Sorry Baby, and Elio. So yeah, be sure to check out. Go out to your local Cineplexes this weekend and check out a new movie or an old movie. Go rewatch Superman and Fantastic Four.
Yes.
We won't judge
No,
because we've
no.
done it too.
Exactly. I still want to catch Oh Hi also. I want to catch that in the theaters too.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. And then, of course, the IMDb Pro's Top Trending segment. Of course, the top trending movie is Happy Gilmore 2. Everybody's been talking about it. Very mixed reviews. I've heard good things, I've heard bad. So I need to catch it for myself. But you know what? It's a success because people are talking about
That's
it. No matter
exactly
what.
right. That's exactly right.
Exactly. Top trending TV show is Untamed, which is also on Netflix.
Yep.
And then the top trending star is Malcolm Jamal Warner. Of course.
I feel like he got it because he was the first one. Like it could have
Yeah.
been either of those three, right? But I feel like Malcolm got it because he was the first one and the one that made sense.
Yeah, and probably, you know, also the most stuff that's credited on IMDb.
True,
Probably
that's
has more
true.
stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we know. we have thoughts and opinions. If you don't know, go back and watch all the other ones.
Correct.
But anyway, guys, thank you so much for getting crazy with us on episode 303,
Yes!
302,
303.
No.
Woo!
Yeah, 303. And look, listen, it's been 303 episodes.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose track of where we're at.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
it's kind of crazy. But
It
yeah,
is
we wouldn't
nuts.
be able to do this without y'all, so we really appreciate it. As always, be sure to follow this podcast on social media at ITCAFpodcast on all social media platforms. Our mental health podcast, we got another episode coming out next week, so be sure to check that out as well
Yes.
at Everything's OKP on social media platforms. And then, of course, you can follow both of us personally on social media, myself at JLoganAustin, and
At Crazy Ant CEO.
that's right. And you can subscribe to this podcast and our other podcasts, Everything's Okay podcast, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. This one's on Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more. And of course, you can find anything and everything video formatted on our YouTube channel. Of course, Crazy Ant Media. You can find anything and everything right there, right now. Watch the videos, guys. They're fun. They're fun to edit. We put actually a decent amount of production into our videos. So
Yes, we do.
please be sure to check those out. Like, subscribe, all the good things. And of course, be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, and start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We got a little bit of something for a little bit of everyone. We got our stories, we got our projects, got everything on there.
Literally
Our personal
everything.
bios. It's awesome. It's so freaking awesome. But this was a fun conversation, you know, because July was a fun month.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
an amazing month. I counted, and I know you've probably gone way more than me, but I've been to the theater 5 times in July to see 4 different movies. So I
Yeah.
saw Superman twice. But
Yeah.
that's probably the most I've ever been to a theater in 1 month.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, well, between Fantastic Four and Superman, that was 5 trips right there because I've seen Fantastic Four twice, Superman 3 times. But yeah, I think it's like 10 or 12 times because I went and saw the ones that nobody went and saw. I went and saw Materialists, and I went and saw, there was a couple that I went and saw that I was by myself. I was one of the rare ones that saw I Know What You Did Last Summer. But it's just, I love movies. That's why I make movies. It's because I love movies. And yeah, man, just go be that lone person in the theater watching a
It's
movie.
so
Nobody.
fun.
It
It's
is
so
fun.
fun.
It's just, you can kick back, do whatever you want. Why? Like you're at the couch at home and just boom. Yeah, man. I love movies.
Exactly, man. Exactly. And of course, we love the one, the only
Oprah!